Good morning. I am Yogesh Mohan, Chairman IIT Meerut. Money has been rightly put up on the regulatory bodies which are working in our country. The apex body, I take an example for the apex body, the AICT. Recently, I was reading a comment of Mr. Mantha, the chair. Question mark. If it is not functionable, one thing, question arises. But 90% of the colleges are not to the mark. Or that the mark is not up to the mark. I don't think so. Secondly, regulation about the fees also. Every state is having a regulation. And they don't have a standard. All the states are not having a standard in fixing the fees also. State-wise, the norms are the same, and why the fees is not same in all the states. Even in one state also the fees is not same. In different colleges we have got different fees. So what is the function of the regulatory body? I am not understanding it. Other regulatory bodies, or the labor also, and for everything I would say. The main crux which I want to say is put up before you is, until unless the corruption is not removed from the education, that is the main thing, the functions of all regulatory bodies goes to none and void. I mean, this all shows, all these examples which I am putting up, that all the regulatory bodies, they are the regulatory bodies, and then they are blaming themselves only. They are blaming their functional capabilities. So first we have to put forward that at least in education, how these regulatory bodies should function, what should be the norms of these regulatory bodies, how should they function, that's the main thing before we proceed anywhere. This is my point. Later on I will put further points. Let us see what comes out. Thank you very much.
I'll come to your question. When we say that there is too much quantity and too little employability and probably something needs to be done, a lot of times our clamor is that the quantity should be regulated. And the moment you say that it should be regulated, that means you are giving somebody else the authority to tell you what to do, which is always very dicey. So at some level, it's best if the engineering entrepreneurs or the engineering college owners, managers, entrepreneurs, they come to a conclusion and decide how much is required and then determine the capacity. So that's really up to the community of entrepreneurs probably sitting here who should take the decision themselves. That will be the best recipe, and not let a AICT or UGC, or not call for their intervention, because if they intervene, it will probably have unintended consequences that you may not want to bear. So that's point number one. The second point is that as a country, India, at the moment at which we are in right now, it offers beautiful opportunities because there are so many technical aspects at different stages of the value chain, and so many technicians required at different stages of the value chain that needs to be catered to. The problem somewhere, what I feel is that most of the engineering institutions are trying to create technical managers, and probably the need or the requirements of the country for technical managers is not 15 lakhs, it's much reduced, whereas you need a polytechnic level employability to do a lot of activities. You have the infrastructure and the installed capacity, which I mean, all of you are here maybe better informed and better equipped to answer. Probably some of it can be utilized to give polytechnic kind of training, which candidate will be far more employable in the industry. And God willing, if the manufacturing story kicks in India, which it has to, if India has to grow 8%, 9% or 10%, I mean, if India has to achieve that kind of growth, then you will have a strong need for that kind of that kind of employability. So probably the reorientation of the thought process also has to come from the entrepreneurs who are running, to see whether we should focus our energies on creating 15 lakh technical managers, or should we also to try to create different sort of trainers at different aspects of the value chain. So I think that's one thing that the
Yeah.
Indian job community.
We're getting a lot of hands from the audience. So, Professor Joseph,